Recording in progress. Okay, great. So today is August 21st. We're doing our monthly Zoom that we do every third Wednesday of the month, same time, same Zoom link. So I highly recommend you put it as an appointment in your Apple Calendar with a repeat every month. That's what I do. And that just saves me so much time. I love doing that. But we do this every month, same third Wednesday of the month. And before we get started, I want to ask Doug to read our mission statement for Magnetic Wealth Experts.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. So our mission statement: provide every agent with the support and resources to reach their definition of success and sustain it. The value is the collaboration of like-minded people wanting and hoping everyone to succeed together. The vision: empower every agent and Magnetic Wealth Experts to see their unlimited potential, especially when they can't see it. Our beliefs are that we all succeed if one succeeds. What we focus on expands. We can have excuses or results, but not both. And our perspective is that everyone can have whatever they dream with our Magnetic Wealth Experts.
Thank you. So I just want to summarize that and say that's what we're doing here. We're just here to help you. And you're part of our group, part of our RevShare group, and we're business partners with you. And we just want to pour in and provide you with every resource we have or every secret, that sales people have, just to help everyone get one more deal. And whatever you want to do is what you want to do. You may want to sell, one house a month, or you may want to sell one a week or one a day. And by the way, Debbie Rena Hines did that as well, one a day. So I just want to say that's what we do these calls for, just to help you. And we do record them, and they're available for you to watch. And if you have a RevShare group yourself, don't assume that someone is getting our invitations, because sometimes those go into junk mail and spam, and a lot of agents I find don't look at their spam and or have opted out of the text. So please share these calls with other people, because it's just going to help them, in my opinion. So I'm really excited today that the guest we have today is Troy Palmquist. And Troy and Doug and Chris and I sat down for lunch at the end of May, when at the time he was director of California for growth. And so he does live in the Southern California area. And anyway, so then since then, he's been promoted to vice president of growth and product marketing at eXp. So now he's nationwide, but he just has such a tremendous background as an agent, as a manager, as a owner of a brokerage. And now he's come to eXp. And so today is just a kind of a sit down conversation between the two of us and all of us, just to hear what his vision is, because I think you're going to be really surprised at his background and what he has to say. So thank you, Troy, for coming on, and let's get started. So please give us start with your background.
Oh God. So big props to Debbie. I mean, that's a lot of houses. I can relate and understand the pressure and the volume that is phenomenal. So kudos to you with that transactional volume. I was at that airport yesterday, and Taco Bell was closed. I was kind of disappointed because I flew out of Austin late last night, but that WIN conference was absolutely amazing. It really truly was. Like, I think the women that were there had their lives impacted in ways that they never anticipated. And being there myself, I mean, I felt like I learned so much and have just a different appreciation for, increased appreciation for what, the women in business do. Like my wife, is an banking executive, and like, I get it, what she does, and what she does for our family, and what she's, put forward, every day when she goes to work, and what she does for us and as a family and stuff. Like, you hear that group of people speak about what they do on a day-to-day basis, and how like they're, just how they put their whole self into it. It was just so amazing. So next year, check it out. I think it, and get involved with it. It's a really good initiative. So, my background, I've been in the real estate industry 22 years. started kind of just accidentally. My friend and I were getting our hair cut next to a real estate office, and we were looking at the window, and they real estate agent comes out and says, "Oh, you see something you want?" And we're like 20 years old, and it's like, yeah, kind of like this one. So, he bought a house, and then I ended up getting a job opportunity at 20 to get into real estate, accidentally, and never looked back. Been involved with it since then, and my career has been fairly diverse, going around from luxury real estate to the foreclosure flip industry, asset disposition, back into brokerages. I started a brokerage on my own, kind of figured there was a way to do brokerage stuff differently than where it was at currently. I think too many brokerages just think of it as a transactional thing, and not like really that they have a customer and who their customer is and how they have to be able to support their customer also. So I went out and started a brokerage, and I remember reaching out to like one of my like agents that I'd worked for early in my career, and she's like, "Do you have rocks in your head?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think so." Like, but I thought I had a really strong why of what I wanted to do. So I created a brokerage called The Address, that was really trying to put luxury as a level of service, not a price point, by giving agents the right tools, the right support, the right marketing and advertising and such, and a brand behind them that they could go and really promote. So I grew that over the course of a few years. Started it in 2018, and then in 2022, January of 22, the company sold to a Cochrane franchise in LA. At which point I decided to go start another one, because I did in fact have rocks in my head. And again, just wanted to create something different that was out there, and did that. And then in 2023, so just about a year ago this year, I had a conversation at Inman Connect with Michael Valdez, and on stage in front of like a couple thousand people. And that conversation inevitably ended up changing my life, changing the course of my career. And I came over to eXp as the director of growth, and never looked back, and brought over my organization. At that time it was 30 agents to eXp, and realized that it was the right move for them. They had better tools, better support than where we were at before, better education, better training, and they were much better supported, I think, as a community than where we were at, kind of individually. So that was a hard thing for me to, really look at and say, okay, I'm going to give up being indie, being my own brand, like, but eventually I kind of like came to it, and it was like, it needs to be bigger than the brand, and bigger than my why needs to be bigger than just building something that's, not going to be able to service a ton of people. Fast forward like 8 months, I got a phone call when Wendy, the new chief marketing officer, joined, and we talked, and I said, "Hey, how can I help you guys with stuff?" And one thing led to another, and got the opportunity to come over to the marketing department, and oversee the growth and program marketing. And I think I'm like 8 weeks in, and absolutely love it. I feel like I'm able to really give back to the industry now in a bigger way than I was ever able to before. Leverage my experiences and kind of what I've been through and what I've done, and really try and help move the needle for everybody. So that's my short story.
Great. I know that you said you went to Miami recently to site visit where eXpCon is going to be, and that's an event coming up a lot of people may not have been to. What can you share about that?
It's going to be different than any eXpCon you've ever been to before.
Okay.
It's a citywide takeover of all the hotels and stuff. It's going to be right there at the beach in the convention center. eXpCon was my first one last year, and I thought it was great. Learned a lot. The culture, the environment, everything about being connected with your agents that you see on a regular basis and work with on a regular basis. This year, everything is going to be different. The panels, the way that the conversations are held, the main stage conversations, the expo hall is going to be probably like nothing you've ever seen at a convention. It's really going to be like the hub of where people go and hang out and talk and like interact, and it's going to be really cool. So I'm excited for it. I see the progression of it. I'd say get your ticket if you haven't got it yet, and it's gonna be a really amazing event.
Oh, good. I'm really looking forward to it, because it will be, for Doug and I, it will be our 10th one to go to.
Wow.
You know, I know, right? So, because the first one we went to, we had not joined eXp at the time. That was in 2015. It was in a small room at a conference room at the Aria Hotel in Vegas, and there were probably 135 people in there. And that was our very first one, and our vision was cast there. And and the time eXp was less than 700 agents, and now we're around 90,000. So I'm excited that that you're saying it's going to be different, because that's just I always like for things to be on the cutting edge. Keep what works and then add new stuff. And I know it's always, I get so much from going to it. I would never miss it, and I encourage anybody to go. All right, well, tell us.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
What's your biggest takeaway that you've ever received at an eXpCon?
Well, I have several. So, I don't know if it's the biggest, but one is from a business standpoint, always referrals. And I either get them personally for us. Someone will call and say, I've got a buyer seller coming to the LA area, or Palm Springs area that we work, and I either get them personally, or I get them and then I, help them, give them out to people, in our rev share group that I know works those areas. And I always start with people that are top of mind, that come to these calls and different things, before I start really going out trying to find someone in the 1,600 plus people we have. So that's huge right there, from referrals for business. So it totally takes care of any money spent. But the biggest thing is, I think for me, is relationships and meeting people and hearing, who they are. And then later I, need that or engage with them at some point, and I know them better. So it's really about the relationships. And, everybody always says the same thing. Oh, I've talked to you online or in the cloud or whatever, as an avatar, and I feel like I already know you, and that happens. Last year, I think my biggest takeaway from eXpCon was the main speaker, Brendan Bouchard, and the reason why is because I sat there and listened to him, number one, and I'd been introduced to him about 7-10 years before that from a couple agents, and didn't have the connection, but I heard him. And then what was really great was he gave us, as you may know, his app, his daily growth call app, for a year for free. And so we really, promoted that to everybody. And, I try to listen to it every day when I go for a walk or something. And that's been just amazing as a carryover,
Yeah, I feel like there's always something there that, at any conference you go to, when you go with the right mindset and the openness to go and learn, you grab that one thing that can really help you. But for me, like you said, it's the relationship building and cultivating and building those relationships with the people that you might not see all the time, or, going out and setting out, to meet somebody new, and talk to someone new, and then, start to build those relationships deeper.
Yeah. And I don't care where it's located. I know it's always in some, great city in Bakersfield, Fresno, California, or whatever other small town in any other state. It doesn't matter, because I'm not going for that. That's fun. And that's, but I live in an area where there's a lot of, fun things always going on. So it's not like I'm coming from one of those towns to a major city. But my point is, I don't get out a lot into all of that other, because I'm really just plugged in. Sure, we'll go out to eat or whatever, but it doesn't matter to me where it's located. I think it's great it's located in a fabulous place, so that for other people, but I'm just saying, my point is to go and plug in and see what I can walk away with, So what about, and so, by the way, everybody, if you don't know this, but eXpCon, it's in Miami. It's October 27th through the 30th. And I fly out that night as soon as it's over to a trip. And, if I wasn't the type of person I was, I'd be like, oh, I'm going on this, trip for 2 weeks after that. I don't have time to go to that. No, it's like, it's the main thing. And I'm going and I'll be there until the evening of it and then go out on a red eye or whatever. What about, so marketing? So you're also with marketing. What things can you share with us that you're developing?
I'd say this. Has everybody here looked at the buyer and the seller toolkit for the NAR stuff? Show of hands. One of the best things out there that we've put out right now is those toolkits. Look at them, use them as a resource because they really are designed to help you guys be able to navigate the waters and navigate these changes. It's been really rewarding to be a part of putting those together and seeing that those changes happen and being able to be a resource. My career is all about has been being able to help agents and help impact the lives of others through the real estate people that I work with, and building those out and seeing those come together at the right time, ahead of ahead of the curve and ahead of other brokerages. It was really rewarding. And seeing the people use that stuff has been a huge help, I think. So down the road, I think we've got some fun stuff that we're working on around attraction and helping agents understand attraction better, how to start conversations, how to have the conversations, how to identify what type of attraction you're going to be successful with, because I'm not a cold caller. I'd rather go around to open houses and meet agents and say hi to people firsthand. So there's different types, and helping agents identify what type of attraction they might want to do, because you realize that one conversation and one person can change your life. It's how'd it feel for you guys when you added your first person to your downline? You guys were early, that first person, and then the second person, and the second person adds a first person. We're bringing people to something that's really amazing and, can actually have an impact for their lives, in a huge way, a huge impact for their career, telling that story and impacting one person, so building the toolkit around that to help people do that is a really cool thing. We're also working on buyer presentations and seller presentations to really try and help move that needle into, explaining better what we do as agents to the consumer, and helping just have that tool to be able to help navigate the conversation better for people. So those are a couple of things that are in the works right now that I think are really exciting.
Oh, good. And yeah, the toolkits put together for the buyer seller, all of this change going on with NAR and everything, I think it's amazing. And I've shared it with, I try to go on open houses as much as I can on Sundays or Saturdays, especially ones in my neighborhood. And, a couple of them, one of them actually, asked me what I thought about everything and had that conversation. It was a slow open house. So I stood there and talked a little bit. And I said, well, let me send you, what our company's put out, because more information is helpful. And I don't want to assume you have, everything that I have. And then I went to the next open house and asked this agent, because of that conversation, I said, what kind of training is your brokerage doing? And she looked at me, she goes, none, and it was this probably small boutique of, 20, 30 agents or something. And I said, well, let me share with you, what we have, and sent that to her. And, and I will say on the video or the panel the other day that Leo was on, that, he mentioned that, we didn't want to be in the forms business, but somehow we got in there. And, it's amazing. I know that form buyer broker agreement shortened down to 2 pages, and cards, what, 12 or 13 or something.
Mm-hmm. It's one of these, I think, really unique times and really unique opportunities, because you would think that, and I come from being an indie broker, whether I had 20 agents or 90 agents, like, you would think that that would be like my main priority, is to like go and make sure that those 20, 35 agents had the resources and the understanding. But a lot of people have stuck their head in the sand. A lot of brokerages have. And I think we're in an opportunity like right now to, like you're saying, you go around to the open houses. I love going to open houses. Like my 6.5-year-old's probably been through more houses than anybody else on the just because he's getting drags around to it. But what you have so much opportunity right now to go and like share value with people because they're confused. I've heard now, like, a couple horror stories where people have been like, fined by the MLSs by, not having buyer broker like already, not asking for it at open houses. And there's a good opportunity to go and spread the value, spread the word, for a few months where it's really truly value there, with people that agents that you've worked with in the past, and just saying, hey, how's it going? Like, are you getting the education that you need? And they're either going to say yes or no. And either way, they're probably going to ask how you're doing with it, and be able to share what eXp has created and share the value that you guys are getting there, and let it trickle down. But it's a once in a lifetime probably opportunity that we'll see to be able to spread the word of what we're doing in that much of a impact.
And I did hear on that, if any of you haven't heard that panel interview that Leo was on last week, it was really, really good. And I think it's already in the link of the toolkits, but he mentioned that some MLSs, and everybody needs to hear this, some MLSs will find the person without notice. You don't get the little notice that we usually get, like we put the wrong word in the description that was not good to put in there or not allowed. It's without notice. They're getting a $2,500 fine to the agent, and that's not covered by E&O, and $5,000 to the brokerage. And then he said that some of them, it's 3 strikes and you're out of that MLS. So I haven't heard anybody locally in our MLS in LA, the one we're in, haven't heard of that happening yet, but I could see it happening. And it's just, I'm in a way, I'm really excited about all this because it's going to get rid of the agents that sell the 1 or 2 deals to their neighbor or relative that we've been cultivating and grooming that client for many years. And then I think the other thing I think is important is we're now going to really know what our value is, because a lot of agents, will say, oh, the buyer, you don't pay me. I work for free for you. And what that does to your psyche and everything, no, you're not working for free. You're working your ass off, and you're spending a lot of money and time doing everything then for that buyer to, not buy with you later and not establish all that up front. So I want to be careful not to go off on a tangent on that. But anyway, I'm really excited about it personally. And it's just going to be all of us pouring in, and learning more.
Well, and lean into what eXp's built. Kendall's got amazing trainings on it. Holly's got amazing trainings. There's and that toolkit we're updating anytime something happens and there's a new call or something like that. So you lean in because you are at one of the brokerages is just having the most amount of education and trainings out there right now. But if you turn your head to it, you're going to end up, getting left behind.
Yeah. And I love that you say you're updating that with the most recent, because we did have Holly on one of these calls a few months ago, and, things have changed since then. And I believe things will constantly change. And so by having all that updated, that's huge. Let me ask you, because for me, being with eXp, it'll be, 9 years in November. What you just recently came over in the last year. So, and you've also owned brokerages and managed, you managed Ingram Boker and Santa Monica. And so anyway, all of us on here, are sometimes intimidated by someone else at the company that we're hearing, they've got all these things that they think are amazing, and half the time they don't use them. What is it you mentioned about like training and support and education? from owning your own brokerage and then come to eXp, what just kind of, elaborate on really the value that we can all use in our mind to have those conversations with those agents that we're meeting at open houses or showing our listings or on the other side of the transaction with.
I think you got to look at it as to where their brokerage is, and who they are, what their production type is. It's a unique conversation, I feel like, for a lot of different people. Although there's a lot of consistency through it. So for me, when I look at trainings, like, we had a beautiful brokerage, beautiful brand, nice offices. I mean, beautiful offices. I kind of always struggled with the office meeting piece. Like, I was never great at it. If you wanted me to do a training on like door knocking or prospecting or, how to review multiple offers and make the best decision, in educating your client on which offer to accept, like how to negotiate a request for repairs, like I could teach that stuff all day long and come up with like really cool courses. But like on smaller brokerage levels, it really is hard because you've got brokers that are also in production. You've got managers that are in production. I think that when you come over to a brokerage like eXp and what we have as the resources here, you've got individuals that are pouring into a particular thing. Like Holly Mayberry is one of the most educated, influential, like people that I know, with one of the biggest hearts out there who want to help
Yes.
their agent right now. Like, hands down, that doesn't exist anywhere else right now. Like, so you look at it from that aspect alone, it's huge. You look at eXp University, and Brian Ellington is renowned in education for real estate agents and developing curriculums and developing stuff. What he develops and what we put out with eXp University is single-handedly one of the best products out there, to my knowledge, for real estate agents to grow, develop their skills, hone their techniques, and really, push forward with the tools and the resources that they need to do, better at what they do. Like, that doesn't exist at other brokerages. And I think that when you look at it, one of the, big key pieces of what makes eXp what it is that it was founded by people that were in the real estate industry. Glenn sold houses. Like, you don't look at other real estate brokerages and, see that they've always been founded by, people that understood real estate. They come from a tech background, or they're trying to solve a problem, or they're, doing something different. When you look at the landscape of what eXp is right now, Glenn sold houses, Leo sold houses, Wendy sold houses, Brian Ellington sold houses, Susan McLean sold houses. Everybody sold real estate. Like, they understand the pain points of where real estate agents have and how to help them grow. That's phenomenal, right? But now they're focused on a particular thing, and that's all they're focused on doing, because they're going to provide the value and the resources there. They're not out necessarily competing with the agents or using their time to be in production because the brokerage is losing money and they need to do this or they need to do that. The resources from all these amazing, talented individuals are focused on you and providing the service and providing the value for you. That's really hard when you're at an indie broker or at, other brokerages where you're like focused on hitting a metric of recruiting. Like, did I bring in enough agents this month? Like, as a team leader, like, where's the resources that I'm getting to help me? And so I think, having conversations with people and like realizing that what we have here is very, very unique, and very, very valuable.
That is huge, because again, in that panel that Leo was on the other day, he made the comment. He goes, there is, I forget what he said, the hat that he wears as the CEO and the hat that he wears as, as the agent, and sold, thousands of homes. And he made the comment about how the buyer broker agreement should be so simple to get someone to sign it, And I think he used the reference of walking on a car lot and, wanting to see a car, and no, they take you inside to sign everything or whatever before you can just open the keys to the door and sit in the car and look at it and drive it or whatever. So my point is that he knows what that experience is like, and all the other ones you mentioned, and there are more. It's the same thing, and it's not someone who, like you said, has been a tech person or owned a mortgage company or these different things, and they're trying to lead a real estate company. And I want to say, to add on to that, is the copycat companies of eXp. If anyone's ever considering moving to another brokerage, just I really appreciate it if you just call me, have the conversation, so we can talk through it. Because a lot of times we don't know what we don't know, and what Troy just said about all of our leadership having experience as an agent is huge, and I also find they're all very reachable, for comments on things, and as we go through these toolkits, if we need something, if we make the suggestion, I know they all look at it and answer. I've seen comments on different things and the alpha meeting that I'm in and different things that I hear. So it's real exciting to me.
Well,
so let's talk. Oh, go ahead.
You've got people also that are, reachable. I mean, one of the greatest things about eXp is that I don't feel like, even in a geographic area, that we think of each other as competition. Like, we're all here to help each other. Like, you go to eXpCon, you can walk up to, anybody and have the conversation with them about how you can grow, no matter who it is. Like, no matter how big of a personality they are, or a production person, or, early on at eXp. I mean, Chuck, Doug, you guys are probably some of the most approachable people I know. And you would pour in and give value to anybody that walked up to you, or called you for, help. Like, I'm readily available, like, for people I want to help. Like, and there's just so much of that at eXp that you just don't get everywhere else. Like, you don't get that at like local franchises where everybody's kind of out for their own and trying to like do that. That is the unique culture of what eXp is and what they've created, because, Chuck and Doug have brought you guys into their organization, into their home, right? Like, they want to see you succeed. And the people that you guys bring in and, work with, like, you want to see them succeed, like, because it hurts. I mean, bringing in the real estate industry is hard. Like, and it's really hard when you see somebody fail at it. Like, and as a broker, for me, that was always hard. I never really wanted to work with brand new agents. I was good if they'd been in the industry for a little while, because I didn't want to be the reason that they failed. Really hard. Switching to eXp, my mindset kind of changed with that, because I knew there was more resources that eXp had for brand new agents than I was ever able to put out. And so I didn't feel like I was letting somebody down by saying, I'll help you get into real estate in your first year. Like, because I didn't have the resources. Now there are. You've got Fast Cap, you've got, all of these other amazing programs that eXp has to help a brand new agent. I don't feel like I'm going to potentially let somebody down now with that. Or you get them put onto a team and help them, like, really understand the fundamentals of real estate by placing them on a team and getting them, like, integrated into a local ecosystem. You don't have that everywhere else.
No, you don't. And to add to your point, the new eXp app, somebody the other day said, "Oh, I didn't know about the app," and I thought, okay, that's true. It hadn't been around a long time, but you can go online to expenterprise.com, or you can click on your app and everything's there. And one of the things is clicking on who your sponsor is with their phone number and email address, and you just click the button. I haven't done it yet, but I guess you just click the call button and it'll dial it or bring it up. And then from there going up. So when a lot of times somebody may have a sponsor that, just isn't a right fit as far as helping and providing information, or they may be so brand new to eXp or as an agent, and you need to go further up. And so, if everyone looks at that, you'll see all the way up. And of course, at the top of mine and Doug's is Glenn Sanford. So it's like, it's truly transparent, and I love also recently implementing the eXp concierge, and I will hit that a lot, to ask questions, because that's what they're there for. And the other day we had Laura had somebody who's on the call here with a cute yellow hat. She sponsored somebody, and he was writing a contract literally, and we had to get that moved over quickly, and it's in California, and of course I knew the procedure for all of that, and I got right on that, and was using that eXp concierge. I said, please, reach out to the broker to get this accepted and everything. I could have gone on into the broker office, which I normally do, but I was out and not so easy available, so I used that service. And then they came back and come find out, they said, oh, he needs to resubmit his W-9 or whatever. We got it all done quickly. And then that's another example of helping with that particular agent. His small boutique brokerage had shut him out of his forms somehow. And I've not had this happen before, but he needed forms right then. And at the time he was driving on his vacation as well. So, Chris stepped in and helped, and Laura stepped in and helped and provided those forms. And that's what it's all about, is helping, and I'll just say this, that's when it really hurts me, when someone is moving brokerages and they're moving for the wrong reason. And usually it's because they think the grass is greener on the other side. And I heard Leo say it nicer than I say. He said, water your own grass. Because there's so much value in what we do that is, as you know, is just not available everywhere, So I think there's a lot to be said about that. What else before we go into Q&A?
I've had people like, when they're thinking about switching, it's like, you've got to look at yourself in the mirror too. Like, I'm not succeeding right now, or I'm not thriving like I want to. I'm going to switch brokerages. Like, it's like, when was the last time you called 5 people in your sphere of influence? Like, when are you doing all of the trainings? Like, because again, I mean, is the grass greener? Is switching brokerages going to keep you like from doing the activities that you haven't been doing now? Like, I mean, I had a conversation that was with an agent a while ago, and he was like, going to come to my brokerage, and like, I'm like, not that I don't want you, but like, are you really going to put in the effort and do what we do by switching brokerages? Like, because you're not doing half of the stuff of where you're at, of what they offer you. So what's going to change for you by switching brokerages? Like, and he sat there and he said, he looked at it and like, he's like, you're right. I'm not tapping into anything of where I'm at. I'm like, so then give it a shot. Like, because you like your manager, you've got good relationships. Like, as much as I want you to come work with me, like, you made a commitment there, and you're not doing half of the activities that you should be doing. So
true. And when I was a manager, and Debbie Renner-Hines was also a manager as well. They call them team leaders there. But, I had a little mirror that I would hold up that actually I was given for cold calls, to look at the mirror and smile as you're talking on the phone. But I would hold that mirror up to them and I'd say, look in the mirror, basically in a nice way. I'd say, you're taking the problem with you, and exactly what you're saying. You're not doing the daily activities that you need to do. And that's why one of our points on our mission statement is, what you focus on expands. And it's just, doing the right things consistently. And it's just broken down so easy to, working out or living better, the way you eat and everything. And we have a couple of people on this call that have done amazing with that. And so it's like, it's the same thing applies to your business. Just do the right things consistently. And I know one event I went to one time, somebody was talking about the checklist they follow all day long, what they do. And one of the top checklists was take a shower and, brush your teeth. And she said, while that sounds so small, it's like my morning can be gone and I didn't do that. And then I'm rushed to, get prepared for my meeting or my appointment or whatever. And it's It's really, it's a structure. Yeah. Right. I mean, and so before we go to Q&A, I want to ask you, what do you suggest for people, to, I've always said, work on your sphere of influence and, really cultivate that and pour into that. For somebody wanting now to have buyers and sellers in today's market, which we know all the things that we're going through, what are you suggesting for on a small scale or maybe on a bigger scale as far as, to get leads and stuff? And of course, talking to your sphere, how do you kind of answer that question?
I have always been sphere of influence, sphere of influence. I drank the Brian Buffini juice 20 years ago, and I've never looked back. Your sphere of influence is the only one that cares about you. The Zillow leads, the open house lead, like they don't necessarily care about your success and your well-being, like your friends and your family, your sphere of influence. So for me, I've always really looked at that as even with the brokerages, it's like, how do we help agents stay in touch with their sphere of influence? How do we help them with that? Because at the end of the day, they're the only ones that care about you. And when the market shift and market slow down and whatever's going on in the world, like you got to double down on it, where you should be writing 3 notes a day or having a few phone calls a day. Like you've got to double down. Like what's your conversion rate? Like if you want to sell 5 houses in a year, how many contacts do you need to make? How many appointments do you need to make? And reverse backwards into it, knowing what it takes to do that. And if you're not out meeting new people to add to your sphere of influence and cultivate those relationships with, like as good as an open house person is that comes in that says they want to sell their house in a few years, you've got to cultivate the lead. You've got to cultivate the relationship. But at the end of the day, the sphere of influence is really the ones that's going to, be there. Like you look at the online leads are great. You know how many people don't cultivate the relationship after that online lead to build a relationship and ask for their referral next time or be there a year later? Like there's a lot of opportunity, especially right now, to show your value, articulate your value to your sphere of influence and your friends and family to really help move that needle along. That's just me. I've been sphere of influence driven forever. But that's me. I come from the mindset of I got a stack of 20 note cards on the desk for the week. I need to get them out. If I didn't write all of them that I needed to write today, that stack is still there tomorrow. And it was, I had this really I was flying home from Austin yesterday, and I got to my seat, and this little card was sitting on my seat, and it was from the flight attendant. And it says, on behalf of Delta and the entire flight crew, we want to thank you for being a loyal, medallion. Happy to have you on board. I've flown so many times. It's the first time I've ever gotten this. You know how much more I love Delta now because of this? This made me feel amazing. And then I saw the one next to me on the seat, and then I'm like, wait, did you guys get him too? She did it for everybody there. Wow. That was she goes, I do it for every flight. I'm like, really? She goes, yeah. It just, it touches people to make them feel special. There's something about that, there is something about the power of this little handwritten note that makes people feel so good. And it's lost. We send people a text message that says happy birthday. Why don't we call them anymore? Right. My in-laws send me a text message. My wife's mother sent her a text message on her birthday instead of calling her, say happy birthday. I'll send people a video, say, hey, happy birthday. Hope you're having a great day. It's how do you make people feel more special now as we've been further and further removed because of technology? Come back to it. That note is worth so much because you took the time to show somebody that you cared.
I love that. And I know Debbie recently talked about the notes that she sends out every single day as well, the 5. And it is so important. And I, that's what I always kind of think when people, say, oh, my sales are down, or I'm not getting any, or this market or whatever. And then then share with them these things like this. And you're right, it makes a huge difference. And, I know we try to watch, in social media when people have a important event happen in their life or something, and snap that picture and have that put on a card, all online and mailed out the door for, I think, less than $2.50, is what we pay. And it makes such a difference. And Doug and I and Chris, we were talking about this the other day, it's better than a postcard, because a postcard, I know I get my mail and I'm looking at it, and the things that are postcards, I'm looking quickly and I just toss it right in the trash can that's about 5 feet from my mailbox. And then I come in, and if it's a note in the envelope with a stamp on it, handwritten, or looks like it was handwritten, I open that up, and that takes a little more effort and energy, and open it, and that surprise factor and everything.
Could you imagine
it's
could you imagine throwing away a card that was handwritten, like without opening it? I couldn't imagine. And like, I look at it like, whatever I'm trying to communicate and like talk to somebody about, can I make it past the trash can? Like, because literally I walk from my mailbox, open it up in the garage, and there's a shredder right there. Like,
you're organized.
I'm not going back. Like, it's getting shredded. But if it's handwritten, there's no way. There is no world that I can possibly imagine that if something came handwritten, like on an envelope, like that I could not open it and just shred it.
And I'll add on that, if it has a picture of something that's important to me, and I've received pictures of different things, events that happened, a dog, putting to sleep, or different things, I don't want to throw it away. So that picture will get like put somewhere, and I will be reminded. And if I put it in a drawer or whatever, I'll be reminded again. It has shelf life,
And that's what's great about that card service that you have. I have an agent in our community that I built a relationship with, and she'll send me those cards, and she screenshots it from social media. Well, I don't have that photo printed. Nobody prints photos anymore. Like, nope. And it's great because it's like a picture of me and my son, or me and my wife, or like, congratulations on this. Like, it would have never lived in a printed form if that wasn't for that card. But like, here's one of those things. You go about talking about like how many times you need to reach out to your sphere of influence and this and that, right? Like, I recommend to people, it's like what we see on social media of our friends, our sphere of influence, is a reason to reach out and say hi. You saw they went and did something. Oh, how was it? Like, and you don't have to do it right then. Take a screenshot, like save it in your photo album, and then go and like, use that as a way to reach back out to people, because you don't want to be all weird and call them right away. Like, but use it as a reminder, as a way to reach out to people and say hi. Like, the power of a phone call in this day and age, just to say hi to somebody, so valuable.
I'm so glad you said that, because you're the VP and you're so successful. I want to be like you. And that's what I do. I screenshot so many things, and then later I go back and look. And I'll just give you an example. Before this call, we were at a store, buying a washer and dryer and for rental property, and had our golden retriever with us. And the woman that wasn't helping me came over and wanted to love on this dog and everything. And turned out she's like 80 and she wants a golden retriever. And we talked about all of that. And I said, you know what? I said, give me your card. And I said, I see your name's Lorna. Give me your card so I have it. Because if I see a rescue available that's at least 5 years old, because I told her that's what I thought she might want to have, I said, I want to help you with that. And so there's an example of, then now I can put her in my database if I want to. And she and her husband are going to sell their home at some point, right? So it's just building those relationships. So
see, anyway, I would send her, like, this is me and I'm a little crazy, but like, I would go get her a dog bone or something like that. Like, this is for your new puppy, like positive affirmations that you get it. Like,
what she said to me, the only reason she doesn't want to get one is because she doesn't want to go through that pain again when she loses it. And she said, and at my age, and I said, but isn't every day from now until, whenever, isn't that more important than the one day that happens and what goes on from there? Because this dog is going to bring you and your husband so much joy. And, my point is, it was a really good unexpected encounter conversation, and then now how I take it and go from there if I want to from a business perspective. So let's Doug, do you have any comments before we go to Q&A, or anyone's put something in the chat? I know you were watching that.
No, nothing in the chat that we need to go over. No, I don't have any comments. I mean, I'm a big fan of Troy, and I think he's great. And I think that the collaboration that we've had has been fantastic thus far. And the approachability of Troy and everybody at eXp is one of the huge benefits. And the fact that, this is our group, and Chuck and I and Chris are very approachable, and whatever we can do to help, that's what we're here for. So no, I'd rather just let the group, if they have any specific questions for Troy, while we have him, let's go there.
Okay, have a question or comment?
I'm just going to hop off. Troy, thank you so much for doing this. I think I actually met you at the tiki theme thing. You were with another gentleman that you were with Leo.
Yes, I was.
I think I joked to you and I said, are you Leo's handler? I think
I was for a little bit, and I do remember you. So thank you for saying hi. But yes, I was. Leo was like, I think, more popular than Taylor Swift was like yesterday. Like at that.
Well, thank you for all you do. It was great to see everybody. And I'm all about. I'm going to go on my Delta flight. I'm going to see if there's a card. But I always say to my team, if your only pay for the day was a 5-star review, how much would you have made today? And those little touches are so important that, people notice them. They really, really do. So thank you for bringing that to all of everybody's attention. Chuck, Doug, thank you so much for putting this on. Chris, I'll talk to you on Friday, and the rest of you have a great week, or 2 weeks until the next time I see you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a safe flight. Anyone
you.
else have a comment or a thought? I'll just say, while we're waiting on someone else, the other day, Saturday, I went to the grocery store to pick up some stuff from the deli for lunch, and 4 people were in front of me, and I could just tell by the energy of those 4 people, this person working behind the counter was just annoyed and hurt and everything. So when I got up there, I said, wow, I said, you're busy today, and looks like there's quite a bit going on. And she, rolled her eyes, and I said, aren't people, crazy or whatever? And she made a comment or something. I said, I want to tell you something. I heard, and again, this was from Leo listening on a group call. I said, I was reminded this week that life is 10% of what happens and 90% of how you react to it. And I said, and then I'll add to that, there was a book years ago that my mother gave me, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. I said, so that was all small stuff. And this young girl looked up at me with these big eyes, and she said, thank you. I needed to hear that right now. And I thought, wow, that I didn't realize me saying that was going to be so, helpful to her. But it's just, how we treat everyone and how we go about every day. And it's so important. Anyone else have any questions or thoughts or input? No? Did we cover everything? Oh yeah, Wendy, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Troy. And in continuing the dog theme, I'm doing a final walkthrough closing in about half an hour, and I'm taking my little doggy, and the seller's going to take the dog for a walk while I do the final walkthrough, because we have that relationship. I think it's about the people, and I'm helping them buy their next one. And I did find that the agent on the other side, on the seller side, was treating the seller like a product, not a person. And it's just really important. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations.
So this is a seller you're talking about?
A seller, and then they're buying, I'm closing on, they're buying $1 million condo at Marina Del Rey on Monday, next week, but closing.
So the one thing we do for our touches, we do a lot of touches, but one thing we do is we do a year anniversary card on the sale of that sales of that client. So I'd suggest on this one, take a picture of your seller and the dog, and 1 year from now, send that card and say, remember that day when we got you your closing, or whatever you want to say. But that kind of stuff is, I think, where you can really soar. And the service we use, and y'all can all reach out to me later about it, but then there's other services too. It's not just this one, but we can set it and forget it, and so they get a card every year on the closing as an anniversary, in addition to other cards. And it's always got a picture on it too, is what we try to do, or what we started doing lately.
Well, and
So
Chuck,
I'll-
that's
I'll-
one of our favorite Maya Angelou quotes. People, I'm not exact on the words, but people will forget what you say, but they'll always remember how you make them feel.
You weren't too far off on the quote.
Yeah. So that's one that Chuck and I kind of live by, and it's so true in every aspect of life.
Well, I'll add on to this and then I got to jump, but the house anniversary thing works great for like your geo farm also, because so many people forget when they bought their house, and you can go and get a bunch of cards printed all at once, handwrite it, keep the pen so that you can write in like your 4th anniversary, like, and then still write on the envelope with the same thing. But like, we've been doing that. I had an agent that did that for a long time in their geo farm, and it's not like you're sending a bunch out all the time. He writes them all at once, like for the month, and like people have called him and like, wow, I can't believe I lived at my house for this long, and like my agent doesn't even do this for me. And like, you're showing them value before you're even like their agent.
I love that. And you know what?
Handwritten note, they're not going to throw it away, they're going to open it up.
Yeah.
That is at the very end of the call. Such a good nugget. So I look forward to seeing you, Troy, in the end of October. And thank you so much for doing this today. I really appreciate
problem. Thanks
taking
for
your
having me,
time
guys.
to do it. Very helpful. And everybody remember, it is recorded. You can send it. And we'll see you on the first Wednesday of the month with our one that we do for more collaboration and everything. Anyone, let's go ahead and stop the recording, Chris, if you will.
All right. Bye, guys.
Nice. Thanks, Troy.
Bye, Troy.